Hi there, I'm Lelia Lewis, and welcome to another edition of New Day, New Beginnings. Now, today I'm going to get right to it. Our title is Get Ready, Get Set, and Go. Now, how many times have you heard that saying? I mean, those words in that order. Now, usually it's to start a race or some sort of a competition because everybody has to do that. And it's also used to start sometimes games at children's parties. But have you ever thought of using that saying to begin a new venture or even to pick up on one that you dropped a year or so ago? Maybe you had a great idea and you just didn't go through with it. Well, but you have to think about this. Those three words, ready, set, go. Have you ever used them in preparation to face your life's challenges? Well, it's one thing that when something minor pops up, you don't think about it that much, you just handle it. But it's altogether different when things are like you're totally blindsided. And it's not something that's simple because when you're totally blindsided and it takes you off guard, and it could be of a severe nature. I mean, it could be like a health issue, a bad diagnosis, a problem with your child. It could be an issue at work. It could be your finances. It could be a family thing going on. The list goes on and on because no matter what your scenario is, the question is, where do you begin? Where do I begin with this mess? But the answer is, where do you begin? At the beginning. So that means the very first thing we have to do is get ready. And get ready means to what? Prepare. And then you say, well, how do you expect to prepare for something if you didn't know it was coming? Well, I'm going to go back to the book of John in chapter 16 because Jesus was with his disciples and he was telling them that you're going to have troubles. And troubles, tribulations, they call them here, but tribulations are troubles, hardships. We have them every day. Maybe some not as severe as others, but we'll look at all the different things we have going on today that they didn't even have back then. But he's saying you're going to have these problems, but if you follow me, do as I say do, I can give you peace. You might have peace with me. I leave you peace. So be of good cheer, he says, for I have overcome the world. And in other words, he's telling them, just trust and believe in me. Keep following me and know to keep their focus on him and not their problem. Because back then, people were very cruel. They were cruel to him. Look how they treated Jesus. They didn't even realize who he was because they didn't care. They didn't take time. Oh, yeah, they saw him do these wonderful things, but then the priests and Pharisees talked him down like he was sent by Satan to do these things. So you've got to learn to keep your focus. And they did. And they knew that if they stayed focused on him, that he would take care of all their problems. But the difference is he does it in his time and in his way. And a lot of times we want to do it our way, or we think we know the best way to do it, but we don't. So at, at the same time, he was telling them, I will give you peace. That means relax. Let me handle it. That's what he's telling them. But we have the same option today. We have the same option. We don't have to torment ourselves. We can rest in his peace and not be fearful of what's to come. So those words were good hundreds and thousands of years ago, but it's also true today. Okay, so next we've got to get set. Now, what does get set mean? And that means getting yourself in position. Now, here I go with the football players, the baseball players, the track and field runners, anybody that's doing a sport, everybody has to get set. Get into position. All right, the football players, they got to know where to stand, where to sit, where to stand, where they're going to run. Everybody has a position. And everybody freezes in that position until it's time to act. I mean, they all have to get in position before they can make a move. And so, likewise, we got to do the same thing. We have to position ourselves to act as well. And when you know God is with you and you trust him, that's the magic word. Like it says in Philippians 4:19, it says, "My God shall supply all my needs." Not some, not if I do this, not if I do that. All you have to do is focus on him. My God shall supply all my needs, even when they're unexpected. Well, they're not unexpected to him because he already knows. He already knows the solution. He already knows what the issue is, and he already knows how we feel. Nothing is unexpected to God. And sometimes when we cry out the loudest is when we're in desperation. And when we cry out that loud, we know we can lean on God in his infinite wisdom to show us the position we should take to go forward. Because we're always trying to figure everything out. And Jesus said, "I give you my peace. Relax." And we still have that same peace. And that's what the purpose of our prayer and our conversation with God is for. So we can maintain this peace. It's within us. We just don't know how to use it. That's the whole point. I mean, we're so busy trying to figure everything out ourselves. And James 1:5, what's it say? If any of you lack wisdom, ask God. God gives to all men liberally, and that means freely. You don't have to, you can't earn it because you're always acting up and always messing up. So you sure can't earn anything. He's giving it to you out of the goodness of his heart because that's how he is. All you have to do is ask earnestly, sincerely, and it will be given unto you. God's already equipped us with what we need to stand up to whatever is confronting us. But you know what? Sometimes we don't feel it. We don't realize the strength that we already have, the equipment that we already have. Same thing if you were having a hard time forgiving somebody. You're equipped with forgiveness. You just have to use it. I mean, well, what can I say? Let's go on to let me get going here. Okay, but so that's being equipped. We already have it. We've just got to learn how to use it. So, and then we say, now, well, okay, we've gotten ready. So we've gotten prepared and we've gotten set. We're in position. Now all we have to do is go. Wow. Well, I know that's easier said than done, but many times we are. We're so much stronger than we think. And I don't mean our physical strength ourselves, but I'm speaking about the strength that God has already put in us. And we don't even realize it because we're too busy trying to do it our way. In John 14:16, he's saying, this is Jesus promising them, his disciples, when he leaves, they won't be alone. He's telling them this is a promise he's making them, because they're fearful that, well, what are we going to do when you leave? And in John 14, verse 16, he says, I will pray to my Father, and he will give you another comforter. And what's a comforter? Well, that's who we call our helper, the Holy Spirit. This is all one person. He'll send you another comforter, and he will abide with you forever. Even the Spirit of truth. The Spirit is within us. When we get those nudges and those funny feelings and those hesitation feelings, that's our inward self. That's the Spirit trying to warn us. And he's saying, I'm going to leave you a comforter, so you'll never be alone. He will be with you forever. And in other words, that's their assurance. That's their assurance. They don't have to worry about a thing, because now they know. Even Jesus is trying to let them know ahead of time, I won't be with you here on earth forever, but I'll send you the comforter, and he will guide you. He will do the same thing that I'm doing with you now. And he will give you the strength you need to go forward. And we've been given that same strength as well. Now, let's go to John chapter 16. And I'm going to just verse 7. Because again, this is Jesus. Now time is drawing nigh. So he's telling them, okay, I won't be with you much longer. And he's letting them know, I will send you a comforter. But now look at verse 7. He says, nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is expedient for you that I go away. And expedient means it's necessary, it's urgent, and we have to do it this way. For if I do not go away, the comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, if I leave, then I will send him to you. So he's telling them, I've got to go. And the only way you're going to get the comforter is if I leave. In other words, he's saying they both can't be here at the same time. So he's got to go, because he's the one that will send the comforter. And the comforter also, like the Holy Spirit, we talk about the fruits of the Spirit. He's a comforter, he's a guide, he's everything. They call him a helper, they call him a strengthener. The comforter is going to do all the things for us, in us, that Jesus did when he was here on earth with them. And that's the part he wants them to understand. But right now he's saying he has to go, because he has to send the comforter. They both can't be here at the same time. And right now, what we're looking for strength. That's our problem today. The strength to do what? To go forward. The strength to go forward and face whatever our challenge is. And he said, I'll do it. I'll take care of you. I'll send the comforter. And you know what? This is me personally. I pray for strength and courage every single day. So many times, because so many times in different instances, you feel overwhelmed. You feel, I do, and defeated. I mean, even today, that's part of my daily prayer. Because each day brings us new challenges, and we don't know what to expect. We can't live tomorrow today. We can't live yesterday over. So all we have is today. And that brings challenges. And we don't know what they're going to be. It could be challenges of the heart, of the mind, of emotions. And sometimes I do still say, I just can't do it. But then the very next thing I say to myself is, so I'll turn it over to the Lord. I'll put it in your hands, Lord, because I know I can't handle it. You know, I remember once when I was a teenager, and oh, did I finish? I was so busy talking about. Oh, did I finish? Okay, one more thing I want to read out of here while I'm in John 16, verse 13. It says, when he sends the Spirit of truth to come, he says, he will guide you into all truth, but he shall not speak of himself. In other words, the words you hear from the Comforter won't be his words. He says it won't be of himself, but whatever he hears, that's what he will speak to you. So that means the Comforter will be here. He'll hear Jesus speak. Jesus is hear his Father speak. It's a chain of command. And that's how it comes to us through the Holy Spirit. And that's the other thing I wanted to point out. The Comforter comes, but he's saying that even the words of the Comforter will still be the words that Jesus is saying to him to tell us and keep us on the right track. So, like I was saying, each day brings new challenges. We have all kinds of things that come up unexpectedly. Like I said, I sometimes say, Lord, I can't do this. But like I said, then I say, well, Lord, I give it to you. You know, sometimes I do. I just throw my hands up and I just say, can't do it. It's yours. You handle it. And believe it or not, that does make me calms me down, slows me down. I remember when I was a teenager, that's what I was getting ready to tell you. I used to ride the bus to and from school, the regular street bus. And I never forgot a sign that I saw, and it was up high, and it said, it was a cross on the sign. There was a cross on the sign, but on the sign it said, Jesus never fails. Jesus never fails. I never forgot that sign. I can see it as clear as day right now. Never forgot that sign. I didn't quite understand it at that time, but over the years, I've learned the importance of those three words, and they've become a part of my daily vocabulary. And a lot of times when I get down and out, I just say, just hold on. Jesus never fails. Would they say he's never late? He's always on time. That's true. We try to think about it in our time, but our time's not always the right time. But his time, always the right time. And as it says in Philippians 4:13, what's that say? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's true, because you got to keep your focus. And I still lose mine sometimes. So now instead of saying what I can't do, I've learned to try to get myself to say what I can do. And even now, sometimes that's difficult. And every day I pray for strength and courage just to keep going, keep going, keep going, to face whatever challenge is coming and know that I'm not alone. And it does work. It lifts your spirits. It does. And you can do the same thing by reading the book, meditating on his word, but trusting and obeying. That's paramount. Remember that saying, keep your eyes on the prize. Well, that statement was made for people who want to win. Now, what about if God was the prize? Well, then we would have somebody really who we knew could give us everything we need. What a prize. And then instead of focusing on what's bothering us, we could focus on the prize, on God. Then, no matter what comes our way, if we keep our focus. Now we're getting confident because we know He's got our back. And nothing's more assuring than knowing that someone you trust really has your back. And that in itself is the greatest confidence builder. It really is. And I'm going to go right fast to Psalm 118, um, verse 1. The very first verse I want to look at first. And it says, "Oh God, thanks, thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, because his mercy endureth forever." And mercy is his leniency, his kindness, how he goes on us so easily. He forgives us over and over again. It's forever, it endureth forever. And then let's jump to verse 5 where it says, "I called upon the Lord in distress." Didn't we just talk about distress? I know all about distress. It works. The Lord answered me and set me in a large place. A large place. He gave me the peace that I was looking for because he took it out of my hands. I prayed. I prayed desperately, continuously, and he took it out of my hands. And verse 8 says, "It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man." Well, we know that. A lot of us already know that because we put way too much confidence or trust in people, period. We do. We and that's what people take advantage of. But see, all the time and trust we're wasting in people, we should be putting in God. Now, how many times have somebody told you they were going to do something, or I don't know, help you with something, and you set the time and what we're going to do and how it's going to happen, and they were no show. They don't show, they don't call, they don't do nothing. They're just invisible. But see, God isn't like that. God's there all the time anyway. We can't run from him. We try sometimes, maybe, but he sees us, and you can't detach yourself from yourself. So wherever you go, you follow, and God sees all that. But if we follow these guidelines, then we should be able to go forward and take action. Now, I have a poem I would like to share with you. Of course, I wrote this a few years ago as well, but I thought of it for today because I don't know, I just thought it would work because I took it off of a nursery rhyme. Now, I took it off the nursery rhyme of Humpty Dumpty. So, if you remember, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall off of the wall. And this is called, I wrote this back in February, 2022. And this is called God's Nursery Rhyme. I once was like Humpty Dumpty, who sat upon a great wall. And just like Humpty Dumpty did, I also had a great fall. There was no one to pick me up from the place where I had been, but I knew that I had Jesus to put me back together again. He mends our hearts and cleanses our soul and gives us day by day, just like in the days of old, but his words we must always obey. Our lives sometimes are like nursery rhymes. We don't always understand, but the one thing that we know for sure is we're in God's unchanging hand. Okay? Well, do you feel like you've had a great fall? Maybe not today, but you know you've had in the past. I know I have. It sometimes feel like you fell into a pit or something, and you just can't see your way out. And sometimes these things last for days and days and weeks, and you're like, well, where are you, Lord? What is it you're trying to tell me? What, and I say this to myself, what am I missing? What is it that I'm missing? And I read stuff and I try to figure out, now what is he saying to me? Everything we read in the Bible has a meaning, but unlike Humpty Dumpty, we do have someone to put us back together again. And all we have to do is ask. Because God's always ready. He's always ready and willing to pick us up and put us back on track. So now, if we follow the directions we've been given, that we've gone over, now we know how to get ready, how to prepare, how to get set, what position to get in, and how to go. And it's just easy enough to do if we keep our focus on God. Just remember the sign I saw with the cross up there that said, Jesus never fails. He can do everything but fail. That's the only thing. He can do everything else. Failure is not in his agenda. And my closing words for today are, hard times don't last forever, but strong people, they do. And until next week, I'm Lelia Lewis. Thanks for joining me.